Seek solitude and pray. Jesus healed many sick and possessed throughout the whole night. But very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. And how does Jesus teach us to pray? Well, again, in a solitary place, it says it right here. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. And I think what strikes me here is the words, your room. Because I don't necessarily think that Jesus means a physical room, but rather a room or a space inside of yourself, which is untouched by anyone or anything. In other words, it's the privacy of your own heart. And this is where your solitude begins. On the desert of yourself. If you sit in silence for a while and you just listen to the ocean of your breath, there are many emotions and thoughts that are coming up. It doesn't take very long, just a few seconds, maybe a few minutes, but they will come. You can use your breath as an anchor to come back into presence every time you find yourself lost in these two emotions and thoughts, the canvas, the desert of your mind. And through becoming aware of those things and centering yourself in the breath, you can observe and listen to what is happening inside of your own heart. In the vast desert of space, the room that Jesus is talking about inside your own heart becomes apparent. I have written down presence and honesty, and we'll go into that deeper a little later. But first, I would love to take a little leap and talk about gratitude. When you rise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. Well, Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor and a philosopher, and he wrote that in his meditations. In other words, you can say, when you wake up in the morning, become aware of what it means to be alive. You know, the warm bed you woke up in, the water that you are able to drink. You don't have to go for 5 kilometers to a well and get the water. It's just coming out of a sink. The food that is abundant, And of course, your breathing, the four elements: fire, water, earth, and air. And we could argue that there is a fifth element, and that is space, which we have talked about just now. Space which encompasses and holds together and gives the ground on which these four other elements can stand. Practicing gratitude every day, becoming aware of the positives, will help you to outweigh the negatives and the stressful situations in your life. Sure, there is always something we can worry about or we can stress about, but compared to the things that we can be grateful for, they are almost nothing. But on the path of going deeper and deeper in the desert, into your own heart, you will, just like Jesus did, encounter the devil. Now, who is the devil? The devil is not a separate entity. The devil is more the uncomfortableness you feel within yourself. That which you do not like about yourself, what you don't want, that which elicits fear. But at the same time, these things are part of yourself. And this is a truth that hurts. It is the truth that reveals itself when we confront the unknown. The unknown is uncomfortable. There's no denying in that. But Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He is the truth. And only through Him we can come to the Father. He also said that He has not come to bring peace, but He's a sword. And a sword is something that cuts away all these things that we don't need. So, being vulnerable and honest to yourself, you will see you can't do many things. And one thing that is happening is that I don't know. This becomes very apparent to me every time I go deep into myself. This uncomfortableness is the place of unknown, the place of where I feel lost. I am lost. I don't know where to go. But have faith. Have faith in the Lord, our God, that He will lead you onto the righteous path. He is with you every step of the way, every breath of the way. And then there's this aspect of acceptance. Acceptance for our insufficiencies that arise because of our fear, because of our doubts, because of the pain that we experience inside of us. But acceptance leads to repentance. Repentance means that you look back and reflect. Look back and reflect what is causing the pain and why the pain is still there. Look back and reflect what is causing the fear. Why is there so much fear? Why is there so much doubt? And there's a fine line between overthinking this process and actually reflecting. There's no need to ruminate, but honestly asking God, why am I experiencing this fear? Why can't I overcome this fear? There's a conversation in the prayer. A conversation is always one talks and the other one listens. But in order to not have a monologue but a dialogue, these roles have to switch. So, in other words, admitting these insufficiencies helps us to accept them and to forgive ourselves. Yes, I am full of fear. Yes, I am full of pain. That's okay, because that's exactly what the cross symbolizes. With the cross, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, transformed the pain of death into the love of life. And if you experience this dissonance between I feel the pain but I do not want to feel it anymore, or I am fearful but I wish I was more courageous, more brave, that I could overcome this fear. Lord, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. See, with this sentence there may be a separation, but it's a separation through integration. Lord, I want to be with you. I am coming towards you into the light. But there are parts of me that fear this light, that want to flee from the light. Help those aspects inside of me to not fear anymore. And this is what prayer really is. See? This is how Jesus Christ teaches us to pray. This is how you are to pray, he says. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And do not subject us to the final test, but deliver us from the evil one. So, our Father in heaven, this is addressing the presence of our own heart, the dimension of spaciousness, the desert of the self. But it's not just the desert of being lost, but it's a holy desert, it's a holy space, it's the kingdom of heaven, which is holy. Hallowed be thy name. your kingdom come. See, the kingdom of heaven is the dimension of space within. Jesus says that the kingdom is not outside. You can't point at it and say, look, it is here or it is there. What is it? It is inside every heart. Your will be done. This is something we have also touched upon today. Lord, I do not know, but I know that you know. Lord, I am lost, but you are the shepherd, and you lead the way. Your will be done, on earth as in heaven. And this is why I touched upon gratitude. This is why the little jump happened in between. Give us today our daily bread. Become aware of those things, of the daily bread that is given to you day by day. And forgive us our debts. This is acceptance. This is forgiveness. As we forgive our debtors, you see, this should come before the Lord, asking the Lord for forgiveness. Of course, He teaches us forgiveness, and through Him, only through Him, we can forgive. But Jesus says, if you judge others with the same, you're judged the same way. And if you do not forgive others, the Father will not forgive you. So, your ability to forgive comes before asking for forgiveness from God. Forgiveness, forgiving yourself, and forgiving others. The last passage, and do not subject us to the final test, but deliver us from the evil one. You see, the final test from me is the temptation of the devil, the selling your soul in a way. And this does not happen usually in a grand way, as it's often depicted, but the devil is smarter than that. It is a chipping away slowly, temptation by temptation, day by day. The final test is not one test, but testing every day. And the temptation can only be effective if there is desire for more, because of envy, because of gluttony, because of greed. But these things, you don't need anything outside of yourself. Do not seek anything outside of yourself, because the kingdom of heaven is inside your own heart. And once you have tasted the waters that Jesus has given us all, you will not thirst no longer. And deliver us from the evil one is the deliverance of the unwanted and the unseen self. As I already said, not through separation, but through integration. Bringing the light into darkness, bringing consciousness into unconsciousness. And like the baptism, you deliver the dead and make them alive again. That which wants to die, let the dead bury the dead, as Jesus says. That which wants to die, let it die. There is a love which is greater than that, which can let go and be free.